It's recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a unique podcast with Charlie and I on Clarksville's Conversation. There's a lot of valuable information that we're needing to get out to people, but obviously we're practicing social distancing just like everybody else. And today, the Chamber of Commerce, the Clarksville Chamber of Commerce has put together a panel of some community leaders who are going to help us, kind of work through some of the concerns for nonprofits, for small businesses, unemployment, some of the things that everybody's a little worried about today. So I'm Katie Gambill, and this is Charlie Koon, and this is a unique episode of Clarksville's Conversation, hosted by the Clarksville Chamber of Commerce. So Charlie, you want to introduce our guest for us?
I do. So first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. We're going to start with Lorneth Peters, the Director of Tennessee Small Business Development at Austin Peay State University. Good morning, Lorneth.
Good morning.
Hello, Lorneth.
How are you? Hello.
Good.
I am excited to be on this call with you as we provide, as Katie mentioned, some great valuable information to businesses and individuals in our community. The Small Business Development Center was started over 20 years ago to provide needed support to businesses in the community. A lot of times I get asked, what exactly can you do for businesses? Well, every business is unique. So whatever that business needs, we are here to provide support to them. So that's what we do.
Well,
There's a lot of questions right now. So that's, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of value in what you have to say today.
Next, we'll go to Miss Valerie Guzman. Good morning, Valerie, from the United Way of Clarksville.
Hey, Valerie.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be invited here. My name is Valerie Guzman, as I was already said. I am the CEO of the local United Way here in Clarksville, Tennessee. And one of the things that we do is make sure that we have a pulse of what our community needs. And we collab together with other nonprofits and make sure that we're getting the job done. As you look out in our community, even as we speak today, we've collabed to make sure that our homeless are getting food and showers like they need. We had a big shower up because we realized we closed a lot of things, and we're able to now make that resource available to them. And we also put out porta potties, as the county did that, to make sure that they have resources in the dignities to use the bathroom. For short and skinny, but as a nonprofit community, we did that together and made sure that we are making those things happen. So that's what we do at the United Way.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last but not least, we have the infamous Mr. John Watz from Workforce Essentials. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Charlie, and thank you very much for hosting us along with the Chamber. We are in some uncharted territory in some trying times in our community here. I'm part of the North Middle Tennessee Workforce Board that runs and has the overall responsibility for the American Job Center system. We work with employers to find the right employees and employees to find the right employers to give them the career ladders that they need for employment in these trying times, as folks are trying to keep their distance like we are here in this podcast, and making sure that they have what they need from the government, from specifically the Department of Labor, and we'll be going over a few of those during this talk today. And again, I appreciate you all hosting this for this community under this time.
Well, thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to the Clarksville Chamber of Commerce for putting this together. I think they saw ahead that there would be some questions that needed to be answered. So they actually went on their social media and let businesses ask some questions. So do you want me to just jump right on into those and we can kind of discuss some of them? So the first two questions are very similar. I'm going to read on both, and I think that I think Lorneth can answer them both because they have to do with small business loans. The first one is, and it's a long one, but it's a very well-written question. In researching options available, the SBA loan option surfaced. We had hopes of being able to refinance our building loan at a lower interest rate for an extended time, which would assist us in getting through this time. However, in pulling documentation from the SBA concerning coronavirus loans, it states those loans are only available to business owners that are unable to secure credit from a lending institution. We are not in that position. Hopefully we will not be by that time, beginning a loan process with the SBA, which takes several months. It would possibly be too late. Do you know of any other relief options for business owners in our community? So that was one question about SBA loans, and here was the other. Small business owners who are eligible for assistance, how it works, how and when to apply, along with distinctions between a grant and a loan. So can you address those for us, Lorneth? Those two questions? Did we get?
Yes, I can. If it came with you, I will share my screen. It did. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we back? Yeah, if it's okay with you, I will share my screen and I will break down exactly the different loan programs, and those will answer the questions we just received.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right, please let me know if you can see.
I can see the, yeah, there we go. Perfect.
You see? All right.
Perfect.
Great. So I know there's a lot of talk about the different loan programs that are available, so I will just briefly provide an overview of each, but that overview should answer many of the questions. Let's start with the economic disaster loans. Skip the screen, sorry. The economic disaster loans, which is called the EIDL loan. Currently, it's open. A lot of individuals have already applied. The thing about this EIDL loan, the application process has already changed 3 different times. So if you applied for it about 2 weeks ago, it looked totally different than it looked, say, today if you apply. But if you apply and you are approved, you can receive up to $2 million. A lot of times SBA will require you to provide your cash flow statement, liabilities, all the other things that will go into the decision of determining exactly how much money is needed for that. You can get a deferment up to 12 months. And if you are approved for $25,000 or less, collateral is not needed. So that's an overview of that one. The second one, it's a newer loan that was kind of rolled out by SBA, and that's the disaster loan advance. If you're interested in receiving $10,000 while you're waiting your EIDL loan, then that's an option. This morning, an email was sent out to everyone who applied for the EIDL loan, and this information was provided to them by SBA. You can receive up to $10,000 while you're waiting for your EIDL loan to actually be approved. I'm going to the next screen here. And now these two are not only through SBA, but with SBA and your bank and the lender. And these are newer programs. Just know your banks are learning all about them. They actually went into effect yesterday. So show your banks grace as we all try to navigate these new programs that were implemented. This is the SBA Express Bridge Loan. If you already have a relationship with your bank, a relationship meaning if you bank there, if you've received a loan in the past, if you have a line of credit through that bank, you can be eligible for up to $25,000 of an advance loan from your bank. Please check with your bank to find out more about that. 2 key things we need to remember. You will need to have a FICO score of about 130 to even be considered for this bridge loan. And also the term is up to 7 years, no more than 7 years. Last but not least, something that we've all heard about, the Paycheck Protection Plan, which is, I must admit, I think is the best out of all the plans that we have available. And it's specifically to keep employees employed by your company. This particular loan will provide payroll. You can get this particular loan for payroll, for mortgage interest, for rent, and for utilities. Sole proprietors, independent contractors, and what we call gig economy workers are also eligible for this particular loan. This is the loan also where a lot of people are finding out more about grants that are available for nonprofits. They're still trying to roll out more information on this particular loan. But in the meantime, I can tell you, if you are able to keep your workforce, about 25% of your workforce throughout the entire time of this pandemic, you will be able to receive a grant for that. You will not have to repay the loan. We know that much at this point. Everything else we're learning more about as we go, but currently if you're able to keep your employees, most of your employees, you will be eligible for loan forgiveness. And as of today, this morning when I woke up, one more thing I would like to mention, a new email was sent to me about those who already have SBA loans. If you currently have an SBA loan, it will be deferred for up to 12 months automatically. It will apply to disaster and business loans as well as SBA 504 loans. So if your business that currently has an SBA loan, know that your payments are deferred for up to 12 months. And that's basically an overview of the information, and I think it answered 2 of those questions.
So Lorneth, if I'm a small business and I just really need to kind of navigate through this, where's a good place for me to go to really educate myself on these things?
You will go to disasterloan.gov.
Disasterloan.gov. And all
Yes.
this information can be found there?
Yes, you can also go to, of course, SBA.gov also.
Okay. Is there any more to the PowerPoint?
That's it.
Perfect.
Hey, Lorneth.
Yes.
Hey, while you're giving out some information, let's make sure everybody knows how to call you directly.
Perfect.
If they have just a simple question, they can probably get to you easier than some other places.
Good point. My phone number is 931-221-1370. That again is 931-221-1370. Just know that we're currently working remotely. So if you leave me a message, I will respond within 20 minutes. And you can also email me at peters@tsbdc.gov.
Perfect. I'm sure there's unfortunately going to be a lot of small businesses over the next few months that are going to be looking for some relief. I actually talked to one this morning. So another question on here is, what types of nonprofits are eligible for any relief grants? Are all of them? Do we all freeze up again?
Yes, I'm sorry, you froze up for a minute. Yes.
That's all right. That's hey, this is the new norm, freezing up, right?
Yeah. Yes. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said, what types of nonprofits are eligible? Maybe you can answer that. Maybe Valerie can.
Currently, Valerie, if you want me to start, if you would like to start. Yeah. Currently, all nonprofits are available.
Okay.
I mean, all nonprofits can apply.
Valerie, what are some of the things you're hearing from the nonprofits right now?
A lot of them are just mostly concerned because a lot of them haven't been able to do big fundraisers, or what will it look like next year, especially the ones that they're not actually able to help right now with COVID-19. How will that affect them for next year? For instance, Big Brothers Big Sisters, they're doing things over the phone, calling their littles, and the bigs and littles are meeting via Zoom. Like, they're trying to be creative in the ways that they meet with them. However, they're not been able to do matches, and they're concerned about what will that look like for next year? How can we sustain ourselves if we're not out there? And so they've been trying to come up with a lot of different creative ways, especially those that aren't directly doing COVID-19 work.
Well, that leads
so they
me
have a lot of concerns about what would it look like for their nonprofit.
Well, that leads me into this next question that does have to do with how people want to help. It says, where can volunteers be matched to deliver food or medicine to seniors or people who are self-quarantining? So if someone wants to volunteer right now, how can they help?
They can go to our liveunitedclarksville.org website, and under the tab Get Involved, we have a volunteer tab, and they can click on it, and it takes them right to our website, our volunteer website, and they can go through different organizations. And if they're having a hard time navigating that and they want to just call the office, they can reach out and call us, because we have urban ministry, Meals on Wheels, they're that are delivered to our elderly, including our 50-plus center.
Good. I think that even though this has been a struggling time for everybody, I'm seeing a lot of good. Like a lot of people are wanting to help, a lot of kindness, we're all in this together. So anything we can do to help each other get through this, I think is important. Can someone? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Charlie, you got something to say. We're usually across from each other and we can read each other really well. It's hard when we're not. So.
Well, that's okay. What I was going to do, we'll let Valerie finish, and then I'm going to get Mr. Watz to comment on something.
Okay.
Oh no, I was just gonna piggyback off of what Katie said, but yeah, people are just reaching out. We did our shower up event, and it wasn't just one nonprofit. It was all as many that could that day showed up and helped, and then community people who just live in our community came up with supplies and things that we were able to add to the moment, and it was so good. And our homeless population was so pleased that they were being treated so well and that they were able to get the resources that they needed. It was just a good feel moment. So in the midst of our storm, we have sunshine moments. So I'm really excited about that.
I agree.
All right, Mr. Watz. You know, we've got some questions on unemployment. How do you file for unemployment? Will the employer help with unemployment? And I know that's a big part of what you guys do.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for having us on. I'm talking to you from the American Job Center, the Workforce Center here in Clarksville at 523 Madison Street. To begin, we do have staff on hand at this time from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening. We can be reached at 931-905-3551 for unemployment insurance calls and questions from employers and individuals. So we are closed again because of the distances that we want to keep between contacts with customers. We can be contacted via that phone, and that's the best way if certain people have certain levels of questions. Let me first discuss some of the concepts of an employer due to COVID laying off employees. And the best way of doing that is for the employer to go onto the Tennessee website, and that is tn.gov/workforce. That's tn.gov/workforce. When that home screen pops up on the Tennessee website, you'll see a box as an employer that says employers, and it's on the left side of the screen. Please click on that, and you will see another box pop up that says employer mass claims, partial claims. Employer mass claims, partial claims. And that's exactly what the employer needs to do if they are going to temporarily lay off or permanently lay off employees due to the COVID virus that has struck them, and they are going to lay them off at a specific time for a certain amount of time. If they do not know how long that they would be laid off, they can plug in 16 weeks when they figure this out. When they plug into or pull that up, they will see a guide to employer mass claims. It is a multi-page document that I'm holding up here that hopefully everyone can see. And it's a multi-page document for the employer to fill out a spreadsheet on all of the employees that they have to lay off due to the COVID virus. That is a difficult spreadsheet to fill out, but it is well worth it for the employer and the employee to take the additional time and fill out all of the data points on the employee mass claim, partial claim, and then upload that onto that website and send it to the Department of Labor. This will do two things. If the employer fills out all of the data on, let's say, John Watz is an employee, and his social security number, and day that he's being laid off, and his phone number, and his home address, and all the requirements that are set on that spreadsheet, then when John Watz comes up to file for unemployment, he doesn't really have to file, because the employer's done that for him, on the partial claim, mass claim. The Department of Labor, when John Watz comes up and certifies that he's been laid off and he is trying to receive unemployment insurance, the Department of Labor will not have to call the employer for each of these employees, and it's going to save time and effort on both the Department of Labor side and the employer side. So it is well worth it for the employer, if they are going to have to lay some people off, is go to the mass claim, partial claim, and fill out that whole spreadsheet. If they do not do that and just put in a claim and list, let's say, Charlie Koon and John Watz as being laid off, but there's no data included, John and Charlie will have to contact the Department of Labor individually and file for their claim individually, which will then cause the Department of Labor to have to call the company and say, did John and Charlie work for you, and what is some of their data and layoff points? It just compounds the situation. So then I strongly urge the companies that are laying people off to go to the tennessee.gov/workforce website, click on employers, click on mass claims, partial claims, fill out all the individual data points, and then send that into the Department of Labor. So that generally covers what an employer should do. Charlie, am I running out of time? Can I now switch into individuals? Is that okay?
I think this is very valuable information.
It's good.
Okay, so now I'll go to individuals who are either A, certifying that they're unemployed, or been laid off because of the COVID virus, and or they are going to have to file specifically for themselves because their employer didn't fill out the full partial claim. The first thing that an individual can do is they can do one of two options. One, as an individual filing for unemployment, they can go to the Jobs for TN website, that is the Jobs, the numeral 4 TN website, and they can file their claim via the internet. I strongly encourage everyone to utilize that avenue if they have access to the internet. If they do not have any access to the internet at all, they can call one of two 800 numbers. The first number is 1-877-813-0950 or 844-432-0969. Those two phone numbers will connect you to unemployment insurance representatives that are spread out across the entire state. I do have to tell everyone, to include employers, because of this COVID virus and the amount of layoffs that Tennessee and this entire country is experiencing, both the phone system and through filing unemployment on the computer system has slowed everything down. I highly again encourage all people to file as best as they can on the internet website of Jobs for TN. We have had some people trying, on the phone, and they are on hold so long that some of their minutes have been used up to a point where they have to then go get a new subscription for that. So when you go to Jobs for TN as an individual, and I have to file for unemployment insurance, there's a couple of things that I want you to make sure that you try to do. Number one, when you start this, they're going to be asking you for certain specific individual things that relate to you and you only. One is your social security number, so you need to have that. Two is your driver's license number or state identification card number, and so you need to have that. You're going to need to give your complete mailing address, your current phone number, emails, and names of employers over the last 18 months, as well as banking information. So let me go through that just a quick second. The Department of Labor wants to make sure that if they're cutting me an unemployment check, that I'm exactly who I am supposed to be. So you have to have an email address. You can create that email address first by going on Yahoo or any of the other websites if you do not have one. So you will need to create that probably prior to you going, but you will also be able to, once you're in the system, there will be some prompts for you to create an email address. You will need the names and addresses of employers over the past 18 months. So if you've had 2 or 3 different jobs, you can't just say, well, I work for Chick-fil-A or a company, the ABC company. You need their address as well. So you'll need to gather that information before you start. You will get paid nowadays by 2 ways. One would be a debit card that they would send you, a credit type card, debit card, where your funding for unemployment would be loaded to. But when you use a type of debit card, sometimes you can swipe certain things and you're going to get some charges to that. And when you're unemployed and you have limited income, that 50 cents charge is a big 50 cents. I recommend that everyone gets and have a direct deposit to their checking account. Therefore, when you file unemployment insurance, you have to have your banking information there too as you're going through the screens, or you're answering the questions over the phone. They're going to want to know what that number is. You can't just say, hold on a minute, I'll get back to you. So you need to have, again, your checking account and banking information as well. And of course, your social security number. So you need to have all of that ready to go once you get to the setup. So again, go to Jobs for TN. On the right side, it's going to say create a username and password. So you create a specific username, a specific password. Write that password down. Don't ever lose that password. And then begin to answer the questions as you go down through the system. And they'll ask you for your social security number and et cetera. And that's how you will file for unemployment insurance. If you don't, you'll have to call those numbers. But again, the best thing to do is to go for the Jobs for TN website. At this time, I think I've answered some of the questions, and I'll switch it back to you all or Charlie and see if you have anything more specific that we can help you with.
Well, John, I appreciate that info. And, you know, I've been seeing in the news, there are actually some people hiring some of your grocery stores and some places like that. So I guess to all 3 of you guys, how can somebody who's unemployed or being furloughed, how can they find out where there are some opportunities? Because people do want to get out and work some kind of way.
I think that's an excellent point. As a matter of fact, watching the national news this morning, Walmart was saying that they had to hire some additional thousands of folks. On the Jobs for TN website, there is a Tennessee Talent Exchange. And again, hopefully you can see this. It's the Tennessee Talent Exchange. It's on the same page as you would be for filling out your Jobs for TN unemployment insurance. And you can drop down on that and list your name, your address, answer a few questions, whether you want to work days or nights. And that ties into exactly what you had just said, Charlie. The grocery stores, the Amazons, the Walmarts, who need to hire people right now. You can set up and say, hey, I'm available in Montgomery County, Clarksville. I'm available to work day shift, night shift. And when you put that in, that you're unemployed, and then you can put in anything specific. Let's say you're into you've done a lot of barcoding, warehousing, stocking, picking, packing, whatever your skill sets were, that goes directly to a Kroger, to a Walmart, to Amazon, they would look at you as you're saying you're available for that specific county. They will then, you have to have an email address, and they would then set up an email for you and say, hey, come down to Walmart, come down to this location and apply for a job. So yes, there are people hiring. There is hope with COVID of continue making a decent living across the board instead of just filing for the unemployment insurance.
Awesome. Well, thanks, John.
Thank you all for this. I've learned a lot today. It's very valuable information. I think that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of uncertainty out there, and a lot of people don't know where to start. And I think the three of you are a perfect place for them to start to figure out some of those things.
I want to say one other thing. Many people have heard that Congress and the Senate have passed certain acts to assist people who are losing their jobs, either temporarily or permanently, for the COVID virus, and that additional monies could be coming down to assist those individuals on top of the normal everyday unemployment insurance. That has not been set up yet across the board through the federal government to the State Department of Labor and State of Tennessee Department of Treasury to see how those funds will come down. As soon as that does happen, however, emails will be sent out, and we can probably do some more podcasts similar to this to get the word out to everyone of how this funding would be affecting positively both business industry and employers. But it has not been linked yet to the employment insurance system and or through U.S. Treasury or the IRS across the board. Those decisions haven't been finalized yet.
Well, we know that things are changing quickly. Just like this morning, Lorneth got information. I would, and I'm speaking for Charlie here, so I hope he's okay with it. I would love the opportunity as we get through this and new information comes available that we can keep people updated on these things, because I think this is top of mind for employers and employees right now.
I'd be willing to, and our staff will, no problem.
Yeah, great.
Charlie, have any words of wisdom to leave us with?
Well, I don't have, I probably don't have word of wisdom, but I want to they're experts. They're experts in what they do,
Right.
And they know other people that can fill the gap somewhere that they may not be able to. So it's not just these three people. The chamber has many members that can fill the gaps in between what we're talking about. So I would just encourage people to reach out and ask for the information, and they'll be able to find it.
Absolutely.
And
Katie,
thank
may I
you
add
for
an
joining us
update?
today. And I think it's important that we thank the Clarksville Chamber of Commerce for putting all this together. They saw a need for it, and they heard it, and they brought us all together to get this information out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to. Good night.
Still recording.
I'm trying.